welcome to 06880, the podcast. I've been doing this now for over a year from this amazing space in the Westport Library. And the idea for the podcast came, as so many great ideas do, from the director of the library, Bill Harmer. Bill took over from the legendary Maxine Bleiweiss in 2015. And since then, you've really kicked the library up from its already lofty heights to into the stratosphere. You're a visionary, and you get things done. You're a big picture thinker, and you're a boots on the ground guy. Great combination. So welcome to my friend, my library director, and my boss, Bill Harmer. Hard to believe, Bill, you've been here 6 years already. It was a big move, right? From Michigan. You know, what got you here, and was it a tough decision to move?
Yeah, very tough decision. It's actually it'll be 7 years in July, which it's amazing how time flies. My kids were just little tykes when we moved out here, and now I've got one in college, one going to college, and a sixth grader now. So it's hard to believe how much time has passed already. Definitely a big decision to uproot my family and go in a different direction with my career. But I felt that I was ready for a bigger challenge. And what I had known about the Westport Library, this part of the world, I think it really just lined up with where I was hoping to advance my career and take my ideas and vision for the 21st century library to another level. The library hired a national recruiting firm. That's how they got me, and it's been a wonderful experience ever since. I've been very blessed.
We're blessed to have you. And you came in the middle of the transformation project. It was already underway.
Right.
So what was your vision? You know, what sort of attracted you to this place during the transformation?
Well, if you recall, I inherited a prior design, which, for several years, the community and the board and my predecessor have been trying to get that project done. And when she retired, the job was handed over to me. It really took me about a year or so to study that particular project, get to know the community, talk to the staff, talk to our donors, and decide what I wanted to do with that project. And we went into a little bit different direction with it. If you recall, that project was about expanding the footprint by about 35,000 square feet, which would have been very costly. It included a really amazing, forward-thinking auditorium, a glassed-in auditorium that would have faced the Saugatuck River there, but expensive. And so we went back to the drawing table. I felt that the project needed to come down in price to around $20 million for us to be able to get it done. So we worked with the architect to completely redesign the concept, and this is what we came up with, which was to keep the library within the footprint of the facility, but reimagine it from top to bottom. So every single square inch has been reimagined here, with the goal of ensuring that all of the communal spaces that we designed here are flexible, multi-purpose, visible, and just exude energy. And I think we've achieved that.
I mean, we're sitting here in this amazing space. Wonderful photo of me and the stage and new sound system and all that. And in a few days, this will be the scene of VersoFest, the first ever Verso Fest, which is a music and media extravaganza.
Right.
What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, well, we're really excited about this. So Verso Fest complements our Story Fest, which is Connecticut's only literary festival. And we're going into our 6th year in the fall. So in the fall, we've done this literary festival, and we thought, wouldn't it be great to have something that complements that around music and media in the spring? So that's how Verso Fest was born. I think we were definitely inspired by the legendary South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas. Back in a prior life, I used to manage and work with rock and roll bands, had been on tour, literally living on the tour bus, been to that festival a number of times, and was really inspired by what I saw there. Just how it just transformed the town and brought up creative types from all over the country there. So we thought, well, why don't we create our own mini version of that? So it's going to be 3 days of music and media. There will be something for everyone, just the general enthusiast, the layperson, the professional that wants to enhance their skills. We're featuring 3 days of live music. And then during the afternoons on Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be like a conference, like actually going to a conference where you can hear a keynote address from a musical luminary, attend a workshop or a breakout session to fine-tune or hone your skills. There really is something for everyone.
Wow. Well, what are some of the things you're particularly looking forward to?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to having 3 straight nights of live music. We've done concerts at the library before, but when people come for Verso Fest, they're going to see an incredible upgrade to our sound system. The forum here at the library is already a magical place as it is. It seats nearly 500 people. There's no bad seat in the house. You're never more than 40 feet from the stage. It has this 19-foot video wall. It's got this theatrical lighting. There's robotic cameras to enhance the experience for the people who are attending in person, but also to record and stream all of our events for people to be able to watch at home. And now we've scaled up our sound system by installing a proper theatrical sound system, something like you would see at, say, the Fairfield Theater Company or the Ridgefield Playhouse. So the sound experience is going to increase exponentially, and people are going to be able to see that for the first time starting on April 8th for the launch of the festival.
Who are they going to see, and who are they going to hear?
They're going to see an incredible band called Zeppelin. They have been around for about 20 years. They're from New York City. It's an all-female Led Zeppelin cover band. But they're not just any cover band. They've been doing this for about 20 years now, and they bring a ferocity and an incredible energy in terms of the way they interpret that music. They have established themselves, by music critics. They tour the world.
Jimmy Page gave them a thumbs up, right?
Yeah, Jimmy Page gave them a thumbs up. They routinely sell out 1,000-seat, 1,500-seat venues all over the country with their incredible live acts. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to help us transform the venue here into a hard rock show. So that will kick the event off with them on Friday.
And other musical acts, other keynotes and workshops?
So Saturday night, the one thing about the festival is the diversity of the festival. Everything about it is diverse. All 3 concerts are diverse. Night 1 is hard rock. The second night is going to be African pop, and then we'll close with an up-and-coming blues artist on Sunday. So Saturday night features Chris France Presents. And we've been blessed to be able to work with Chris France over the past couple of years. I think everyone in Westport knows what a generous man Chris is. He's very giving of himself. And when we approached him about curating a music series with us, he jumped at it. The library is known for featuring emerging authors. And so this series is really about featuring emerging musicians and bands in and around Fairfield and the tri-state area. And Chris curates it. He handpicks the band. So Saturday night, we're featuring this band called Enid Z, and they're a band from Zimbabwe. They fronted by a guy by the name of, and I hope I don't butcher his name here, Nyasha Chiandiza. And he was born in Zimbabwe, educated at Yale, where he studied philosophy, but his music incorporates the street sounds that he heard in his youth in the suburbs of Zimbabwe with 70s classic rock and psychedelic American rock that he grew up loving as well. So he's essentially synthesized those 2 forms and added a pop element to it. So that's going to be exciting. And then the opening act that night is probably my favorite Connecticut act right now. Her name is Danny, probably. Her real name is Daniel Kapolba. Absolutely one of my favorite emerging artists here. She is an absolutely incredible songwriter. Her sense of melody, the hooks in her song, she's got a really soulful and lush voice. And I think that for the uninitiated who come out that night and they see her perform, they're going to walk away thinking, why isn't this person a household name yet and a star? She's definitely a top and rising talent. And then Sunday, we'll close out Verso Fest with a performance by Selwyn Birchwood, who is a groundbreaking young blues musician from Florida. He's won numerous blues awards. He just won the Albert King Guitarist of the Year award. Still a young guy. He plays electric guitar, lap steel guitar. He's got a band, a complete band. They brand themselves, their music they called electric swamp blues music. So every night the concerts will feature some type of different genre. That's definitely something we're very proud of.
And the range of the workshops and all that?
Yeah, incredible range here. So starting at 11 o'clock, this Saturday will be like a conference, like attending a conference, and we're going to kick things off with Michael Jobwhite. And if Westporters and people in Connecticut don't know about Mr. White, they should. He is probably one of the most famous living martial artists in the world. He's also an actor, producer, and a writer. Most famous for being the first African American to star as a comic book hero in a major motion picture, which was the film Spawn, which came out in 1997. But he has since acted in a number of roles we're all familiar with. The Tyler Perry films. He played Mike Tyson in an HBO docuseries. But the reason why we wanted him to come to Westport is we want him to deliver a keynote address about the movie studio that he's building right underneath our noses here in Shelton, Connecticut. It's called Gigantic Studios, and it's billed as the first mini major motion picture studio in Connecticut. It's my understanding it's been a lifelong dream of his to bring a studio back to his home state in Connecticut. His goal is to provide jobs and professional training and apprenticeships. And it's a literal movie studio. It's got sound stages, post-production facilities. He's aiming big. He really wants to solidify this area as a home for making movies, and he's taken advantage of those tax credits that the state is offering to do it. So I really want Westporters to hear about the good work that he's doing here.
So this is the first festival of its kind in the state, right? And in any library anywhere.
We suspect so. There's been other music festivals in the state, but we're not aware of any music festival that was, created by a public library. And I do want to say too that certainly one of the goals that we have here is just like any good festival, like the South by Southwest festival. Ultimately our goal here is for the festival to integrate with the long arts and culture heritage that we have here in Westport, and use this as an opportunity to bring people not only from Westport out, but from around the region to profile our town. We want people to come here and spend the day, shop, eat in our restaurants, and really showcase Westport. It's really important that what we're doing here is integrated with what's happening in the community.
So let me be the devil's advocate or the skunk at the garden party, whatever you want to call it. Are there people who say, this isn't something that a library should be doing? Let me read my newspaper, check out a novel or two, and, leave the music to other people.
For the most part, the people, the patrons that come to our building every day, that attend our programs, that I meet, they're just so proud of this facility and its flexibility to be anything and everything. But sure, we definitely have some folks who think that way. And what I try to talk to them about is that, and we were talking about this earlier, Dan, is that, first and foremost, the library, our mission is all about lifelong education and knowledge. And knowledge transfer comes in a number of different forms. For some people, it's about books, and books are a tool for learning. For others, it's the technology and the media studios that we've built here. It's the programming, it's the workshops, it's the opportunity to come out and share a communal experience with your neighbors and your friends in our incredible forum space. So learning comes in a number of shapes and forms, and we're just simply using media in the same way that we've used books for decades to create new learning opportunities for people. Really, that's what VersoFest is about. It's not about putting on a concert. It's really about showcasing our media vision, our media studios, because it has created amazing opportunities here where we're seeing multi-generations of people coming through our doors, young and old, to take advantage of this facility. Whether we're training them, whether they're learning about the technology and the software, whether they're literally rolling up their sleeves and creating podcasts or documentaries or a YouTube channel or making music or whatever it happens to be, it has become an intergenerational function and force for this library that has, I think, opened the doors for more community members from a more diverse cross-section of the community to take advantage of the library. That's the reality.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before, and we were talking about two parts of the community. Number one, the newcomers who moved to Westport for many things and didn't even realize there was this amazing facility. And then the people who work elsewhere and are not really connected to the community except maybe on weekends. And can you talk about how the library serves both of those groups?
Yeah, absolutely. We seem to be, the library seems to be one of the beautiful things about a public library is, by its very definition, it's inclusive. Everyone is welcome through our doors. There's no barrier here. There's no membership. There's no pay to play other than, of course, your taxes. But everyone is welcome. And that's a real privilege and opportunity for us. And so we see people leveraging the library in just any number of ways. It might just be coming in here on Saturday or Sunday to bring their children in to check out books from the children's department or attend a program with their kids. Maybe people coming in the evenings to attend an author event or some type of a workshop, or just come and spend the day here to be surrounded by other people who are working outside of their home. On any given day, there's a diverse cross-section of the community that is taking advantage of these communal spaces, these resources, and making these kinds of formal and informal connections with each other. When we designed the facility, one of the things that I talked to the architect all the time about was that we strongly believe that, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, human beings really do need to be connected to one another. Good things tend to happen when we're in the same physical spaces together. That's why we designed a lot of these spaces the way we did. We wanted them to feel open and connected and visible, to create energy and draw people in to make connections. Ultimately, we want people to walk out our door every day and feel inspired in a world that's challenging and difficult to live in, especially over the last 2 years. This has got to be the place for inspiration and aspiration.
So, does the word library cover this? I mean, is it an outmoded term? Are you finding that it's a hard sell to get people to the library?
It is, actually, because, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, there probably hasn't been a day that's gone by since we opened the new building in June of 2019, where I haven't run into someone who's been in the building for the first time, and the expression on their face is really one of being awestruck. They just, until you actually walk in here and experience it, it's hard to put into words. And I think part of that has to do with just this collective unconscious that we have about what a library is. I think part of that just stems from this thing that we all grew up with about libraries being that place where you're supposed to be quiet and you're not allowed to have fun, and it's stacks of books and all that. It's obviously still about that here. That's the foundation of what we're doing here. But at the same time, it has been difficult for people to think differently. And I think that it definitely has created a challenge. So we do 2,000 programs a year. We did 2,000 programs last year. And believe it or not, we had nearly 120,000 people attend those programs either in person or virtually, which is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But nevertheless, I don't know that we're not one of the first places that people necessarily turn to, because I don't think they think about the library as a place where they can come and participate in a program or event. I still think we're struggling with that a little bit, and it may have something to do with the terminology.
So how do you get the word out? How do you get people through the door or to click on a program?
It's really grassroots. You know, it's a grassroots effort, whether I'm going out in the community and speaking to people or greeting people when they come into the building for the first time, and trying to make those connections, inviting people to events so that they can participate and see it firsthand for themselves. I think ultimately it has to be about showing and not telling. It's like a screenplay. A screenplay is different than a novel, where in a screenplay you have to show the action, and in a novel is something completely different than that. I think for the library, it's about when people come here and experience it, we've got to show them that they belong here, that there's something here for them. So it's going to take time, but over time, I think that will continue to transform, and people will definitely see the opportunities here.
So this is the library of 2022, not your father's or grandfather's library. What about the library of 2032 or 2042?
Wow, that's an interesting question. The one thing that I've tried not to do in my career is be a library futurist, because I can tell you that library futurists have gotten it wrong for 40 years. Starting in the early 90s, with the advent of the personal computer, I had to deal with 3 years of articles about the death of libraries, and then when the internet came along, same story. We're still, when you read the literature out there, most of the stories about libraries are still about, are they still relevant? And there's a real disconnect there, because the reality is that there are more public libraries than McDonald's restaurants in this country. Fact. There's over 9,000 public libraries. There's one in just about every community you can imagine. 2, more young people participate in library summer programs than they do Little League and soccer programs. That's a fact as well. And Americans, the data and the research absolutely backs up the fact that Americans trust libraries as an investment. They feel that it's money well spent, well invested. It's a good return on investment. There's not a lot of corruption there and mistrust like they have with some other government entities. So the press often does a disservice for us. I'm not sure I want to look into the future 20 years. What I do hope is that my colleagues around the country who are in leadership positions, board of trustee members, understand that their primary role is meeting the needs and the wants of their community. Public libraries are not cookie-cutter organizations. One size does not fit all. Our job is to customize our facilities, our products, our resources to meet the needs of this community. It's all about looking outward to look inward. It really is. And that really is the job of library leaders. If we can figure out how to do that, libraries are going to have a long future.
Wow. You mentioned McDonald's. You've got a cafe here, and your food is a lot better than McDonald's. It really does serve the community. Any message you want to give to people? Any final words or thoughts on the Westport Library and the community?
Yeah, we're interested in your ideas. One of the things we talk about on our staff is that while we have stacks of books, we really look at our community as a community of books. And the opportunity that we have here in Westport is pretty unique when you look at the subject matter experts that exist in this community, with the captains of industry, authors, musicians, artists, entrepreneurs. If we think of the people in our community literally as books, to me, the new library is a synthesis of how do we get them to open themselves up and share their knowledge with others. I think that's a formula for the 21st century library. It's creating opportunities for people in the community to get involved and share what they know with others, because the reality is that there are community members who are desirous of learning what they know. And that is a deliberate, strategic approach that we have. So we're going to continue to invite the community to come in and sit down with us and share their ideas, because we want to make those connections, and we want to create those opportunities to create those communal experiences where, people can inspire one another. That is ultimately what we're trying to do here. We use our spaces, our media technology, our books, our staff, our cafe, our meeting rooms. All of that exists to essentially create that environment here. That's what we're trying to do.
It is a great environment. It's a wonderful building. If you haven't been in, first of all, why? But come here, come meet Bill, come meet the staff, come to VersoFest, certainly on April 8th, 9th, and 10th, and see what this amazing institution in Westport is all about.
Great. WestportLibrary.org. You'll find information about VersoFest there. Please do come out. I got to mention one more thing,
Sure.
though, Dan. This library's had a long history around innovation with the makerspace, this transformation project, our media studios. On the Saturday of VersoFest, April 9th at 6 p.m., we are going to be launching what we think is going to be the first public library in the world to launch its own independent record label. It's going to be an actual vinyl record that will feature about a dozen tracks from various artists and musicians from all over Fairfield County, ranging from jazz to folk to world music to indie rock and everything in between. The album cover as well is going to be designed by a local artist. So everything about the project is, again, it's all about the community. It's about nurturing and supporting the creative types in the community, right down to the album artwork. So come on out. On Saturday, April the 9th, we're going to have a listening party. You'll be able to purchase the record at that time and hear some of the selections of the music that's going to be on the record. So it's a really exciting opportunity, and we're really proud of that, and we hope people will come out and support us.
And we've come a long way from the time when librarians shushed you for turning a page too loudly.
That's right. Listen to the noise around us right now.
Bill Harmer, director of the Westport Library, thank you for being here on 06880, the podcast, and we will see you on April 8th, 9th, and 10th.
You bet. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.